Hello, everybody, and welcome back to your premiere show that four people watch regarding everything, both sane and insane, sanctioned and unsanctioned. Nothing is left off the table, that of which is the adult table. I, of course, am your host, Trav, joined always by the intrepid, the all great and powerful, the vanilla gorilla himself, Mr. showing everyone who said anything negative about him in the past 4 to 8 years. Go fuck yourself this week and every other week, Mr. Joey Fats.
What's up, dude? It's been a fun 7 days. I'm not gonna lie, it has been very eventful. I keep getting told I'm going to be sick of the winning. I was told I was going to be sick of the winning. I'm still not sick of the winning.
Why? When am I going to get sick of this winning?
I don't know. I'm not in any rush, but at the same time, I guess it's the one lie Donald Trump told me.
Yeah, been saying it since he got elected. We might be beating a dead horse by making that statement like nearly every time we talk about him at this point, but I'll stop saying it when it stops being true.
Listen, the day it becomes a reality and the winning stops, then we'll stop saying it. Until then, riding the wave, baby. We're gonna get pitted, so pitted.
It's just all we're gonna be doing tonight is, I mean, we got the two big trial things to go over. It's been a couple weeks since the last episode, so there's some updates to go over regarding those two. But yeah, I mean, all this went like a monumental week for President Trump. Just ridiculous how many things he got done in such a short amount of time, and how it's largely going ignored by, about half the country. Oh, we lost you there, Joey. What's going on? Where are you bastard? All right, got you back.
Okay, I was to say, did I just lose it, or did you just happen? What happened there? Everything went quiet. I touched something on my mixer.
On your body.
Oh no! What did I do?
Don't try to plug both your belly button and asshole at the same time. This is what happens.
It's just. I don't know why they gave us two hands if they didn't want us to do that.
Two hands, two thumbs. They fit perfectly into both.
Yeah.
Like what?
It's like that Beavis and Butthead episode when Beavis is he's like, what if you had? What would you do if you had two dongs? And Beavis is like, well, I just peed off twice.
Yeah,
he's like,
two hands.
You wouldn't do two chicks at the same time. He's like, nope.
Nope.
And he's like, Butthead's like grilling him about it. He's like, yep, more than one way to skin a cat.
Yeah.
It's like one of the fucking funniest exchanges I've ever seen on that show. But anyway, I digest.
Yes,
but
sir.
Yeah, if they didn't want us to plug our butthole and our, belly button at the same time, I don't know why we could, anyway. It's another. Sounds like we're going down another 100 men versus a gorilla rabbit hole with that one.
Yeah, look, I'm not a doctor.
Yeah.
But I am a scientist. I still don't have an answer for you, though.
No, I'm not a doctor, but I am married to one.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in today's, at least on Facebook and in this social media hierarchy, I am actually qualified to speak as a doctor because I'm married to one. Therefore,
proxy.
I am, by osmosis, I am also somewhat of a doctor.
I'm sure she's going to love to hear what you're saying, speaking on her behalf as her proxy, as it were.
She'd probably actually, she'd probably love it, but no.
Oh, I know she will.
She very much shares my sense of humor. It's so funny as people think like people who don't know my wife's not she's not like me. She's not outspoken on social media or anything like that. She's pretty to herself, and but she'll talk, we'll talk every night, and she's like, I wonder if people really knew how I feel about a lot of things, if they would be shocked or not, because they just everybody always asks her I don't know how you tolerate him, or God bless you for putting up with him and blah 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 and all this other shit. And she's like, what do you mean tolerate? She's like, I don't tolerate anything. She's like, you don't even know what my opinion on half this shit is, so you're just assuming that I disagree with him because you do. And they're like, oh, his wife's a doctor and she's smart, so she must not agree with him. It's like, no.
I think this relationship wouldn't have made it that far if that were the case, let alone how long you guys have been together and married.
We've been together 20, married 10. Something tells me if we vehemently disagreed on politics, I think the last 10 years would have been pretty tough.
Yeah, 2016. It's not like that revelation was known of like your stance on things in general in 2016, and then she's like, "Oh my, you think you know somebody? I gotta fucking reevaluate my goddamn life choices." Like, no,
Jesus Christ, he's pulled the wool over my eyes.
No, just because she doesn't speak, isn't as vocal about her stance on things doesn't mean she disagrees with you at all. Obviously, that's not the case. But
I mean, don't get me wrong. We have things that we don't always see eye to eye on.
Absolutely.
I mean, like, in a lot of things, which is fine. But for the most part, we're like, I mean, to say that even though it's tough because it's so funny because my wife and I, we both see things almost the exact same way. Like, there's being on the same page, but like we're in the same sentence in the same paragraph, like on 99.9% of things, and it's very rarely that we have like a one-off disagreement. And it's so funny because people, especially this week with, some of the, I mean, you follow me on social media, you see the shit I say. I don't hold back. I don't pull punches. People think like, people are texting me like behind the scenes and like stuff like that, like offline. They're like, dude, they're like, you say some fucking wild shit, bro. And I'm like, I mean every word of it. Like, and I would say it to your face. And people just assume my wife would be like, they're like, she must not follow him on social media. She would be mortified.
Like, no, I know what he's yelling about upstairs. I can hear it.
Yeah. My wife's like proofreading my post for me. She's like, oh, hey, you missed a comma here. You spelled this wrong.
Yeah, the punctuation was off. Like, I'm just proofreading.
Like, hold on, let me clean this up for you.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, I get the same type of bullshit too. Granted, I'm not married, but you shared with me a recent conversation with somebody. I'm not going to name drop anybody here, but that's the reality of being an outspoken person who backs up what you're talking about and what you stand for. That's part of the curse of being honest and brutally honest to that point and standing by your convictions.
And people think I'm doing it just to be like a contrarian or a dick. And they're like, you're just trolling. I'm like, no, trolling is something that you do when you don't necessarily believe the thing that you're saying. You're just doing it to get a reaction. I'm not. So, I mean, I guess we'll just kick it off with this because obviously the Biden cancer thing was the biggest, story of the Sunday of the weekend.
Yes.
It dropped on Sunday. My first gut reaction to that was duh, no shit.
Yeah.
It's funny. He told us accidentally that he had cancer right here in Somerset, Massachusetts. Like, what was it? A year and a half ago, 2 years ago now?
When he was at the plant.
When they're at the plant giving his bullshit speech on climate change. And, if you just give the government more money, dude, I'm telling you, brother, we'll fix the weather. Like, okay.
Been saying that for decades and nothing.
Yeah, and I got a bridge for sale in France, only been bombed once. Mm-hmm. But he slipped up and told us that he had cancer that day. If you go back and listen to that speech, he's talking about the oil slick, the first frost, and the oil slick on the window and on the windshield. And he's like, and that's why me and a lot of people from Delaware have cancer. And Delaware was like the highest for the longest time. It was like the highest cancer state in the country. And everybody just and the White House official, people, they obviously got questioned on it and they brushed it off. Oh no, he misspoke. And now we come back and he's got this super aggressive stage 4 prostate cancer that's moved in the bones, which takes like 10, 15 years to get to that stage.
That's the point I was about to get to. So that's not, he just got checked up the other day and they're like, oh, you're already at the stage. That takes years to metastasize. I think I'm probably butchering that.
Metastasize, yeah, into the bones.
Takes years. So they knew about this well in advance. And there's no way they didn't. And just like they knew about his slipping cognitive capacities, it was obvious. If the cancer's not obvious, and yeah, if you missed that speech that he gave, that probably didn't think. I think I saw that, not live, but like clips of it, and I was just like, well, he just had another verbal faux pas again because he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. But turns out there's a nugget of truth there.
I remember hearing it. I remember hearing it, and I don't know if it had to have been my wife or my mom, even my mom or my dad or somebody. I told him, I said,
did he just say he has cancer?
I'm like, he 100% has cancer. Because the thing is with people who have dementia like that and are going through it, if you've ever, like, they don't have the capacity to lie. So they can't make things up. Like they can misremember things and they can say things, but usually what they're pulling from is something that they already know, something that's in there, that's
currently
coming
on their
out.
brain or on their mind.
That's currently that they can fall back to.
Yes,
and it's something they know, and so he knew. And he said it, and I said, he's 100% got cancer. I'm like, he's got something going on, because you don't just say that. You don't have a Freudian slip and be like, like me and everybody else from Delaware, we all got cancer. Like, I know he loves to be the common guy, relatable guy. Yeah, I was a truck driver, and I,
when he was like 16, he did that, and then he immediately gets into politics, and he hasn't done a goddamn thing since.
Right. He's never done a fucking thing. Guy's been in Washington for 50 fucking years.
Same with Bernie. Like,
another one. I'm gonna get me fuckers. We are fighting the oligarchy. Okay. The oligarchy is the biggest thing that we must fight right now.
Me and AOC are getting on a private jet. We're gonna go yell at people for being.
We're gonna go yell at people because the oligarchy. Okay. And this is a big problem in America. Okay. It is causing the climate to change. And we need your financial support in order to fix it.
Meanwhile, we're now getting on this private jet again, and you can go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Do as I say, not as I do. Okay.
I got
but
3 houses.
He drives like a fucking R8. Like, dude, fuck you.
Yeah.
You want to talk about one of the biggest frauds in American political history?
Yes.
Bernie Sanders has got to be the biggest grifter of all of them. Like, it's anyway. That's crazy. But, so Biden, like I said, he's slipped up and said that, and I immediately knew. I was like, he's got something. Like, and you knew the cognitive issues were getting worse and worse.
I mean that was apparent for a long time.
So
the only
apparent.
people that didn't see it were the ones that are completely anti-Trump.
But they chose not to see it, or they were just intentionally being obtuse. And I think that's what a lot of this is coming down to now, is that you just have people refusing to accept the fact that they've been lied to or that they missed something, and they're just doubling and tripling down on it.
It's weird denial
in an effort to protect their ego.
Now I'm seeing posts of lost it there again. Let me see if I can get you back. All right, there we go.
Okay.
I'm seeing a lot of posts now of, it's very apparent Trump's mental health is not very good. He's slipping. And like, what are you basing this on?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
You were in complete denial of it for 4 years when Biden was in office. You're like, oh no, he's always had a stutter. Go back and look at any of his speeches from any of his decades-long political career where he's on camera constantly. No goddamn stutter. Like, cut the bullshit.
Yeah, nothing.
And if Trump is losing it, then it's certainly not showing on screen. It's certainly not showing on when he's going to other countries and making deals. It has no effect in that. So where is it? It's just complete fabrication once again.
1,000%. And it's like you see like Jake Tapper and all these people in the media now, and Jake Tapper's writing a book, basically coming out and saying like, oh well, the Biden administration lied to us. Like they pulled the wool over our eyes. It's like, dude, fuck you. No, they didn't.
No,
like,
they were lying straight to our face.
Yeah, now that they're out of office
involved.
and they're not, they're of no use to you. You have no problem throwing them under the bus and trying to make a quick buck off of a book because you're a fucking grifter too. Like that's the cutthroat nature of politics. Like everybody's a useful idiot until they're not. And once you're useless to the masses, they will cast you aside and throw you to the wolves and have absolutely no problem doing it. And that's what you're seeing. I mean, Jake Tapper, like you mentioned the stutter. Jake Tapper, who was it he grilled? It wasn't Laura Trump. It might have been Laura Trump. I forget. He grilled on his show. And she had said that, she questioned his cognitive abilities because of the stutter. He's like, are you really going to mock him for his stutter? Like, what about the children that are watching this that have stutters? How are they supposed to feel? It's like, oh my God, dude. It's like,
how are they relevant?
Yeah. And also it's like, oh my God, the children again, like,
how am I supposed to feel as a citizen who's being fucked from both ends, spit roasted by the government right now and lied to by the media in denial of this man's declining mental health, and you're going to tell me thinking the kids with stutters? That's not relevant.
Children.
Why are you deflecting it to something that doesn't matter? I don't care. Like, oh, yes, I'm sure it's bad for a kid with a stutter. I don't give a shit.
Because that's page 1 of the Democrat playbook, right? When you're backed into an argument and you have no facts or you have nothing on your side, just default to the emotional play, and then try to paint your opponent or whoever you're going up
Somebody
against
who's
as
unempathetic. If I
yeah,
hear
someone
one
who's
more
just
thing about me not having empathy, I'm gonna fucking cockslap them. It's like,
dude,
show them
it's
how
honest.
much empathy I actually do have. Like,
It's honestly why I haven't I can't for the life of me, like, to me,
it hurts my head.
empathy is okay to it's good to have empathy at times.
I have to
but
be very selective with it, though.
but it's a weakness. I'm sorry, it's weak. It's a weakness. And when you're overly empathetic and you're overly emotional, you can't make decisions that are based in fact and logic.
In logic, yeah.
And you can't make accurate, good decisions for whatever the good of the situation is because you're allowing your emotions. It's like if I go on FanDuel every single Sunday and I bet $100 for the Broncos to win, and they win, and they're a 3-13 team, and I hit 3, I'm like, hey, I got right 3 times. Yeah, but you were wrong 13. Like,
yeah,
that's me betting with my heart, right? Like you don't do it in sports. You don't bet with your heart in sports. Everybody tells you don't bet with your heart, bet with your head.
yeah.
What do the odds tell you? What do the numbers tell you? Watch the game. Don't pick you don't just bet on your favorite team because they're your favorite team and you want them to win. You bet on the team that you think is going to win because you're trying to make money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. It's the same thing with making policy decisions or making decisions based on who you're going to vote for or anything. You're making decisions based on the facts and the logic and the outcome of what you think is going to be for the greater good or or is going to benefit you, not the one that you want. And not the one. And listen, I would love to have a world where all 7 billion people could just, everybody could kick back and, it'd be like that Rick and Morty episode where the dinosaurs come back and nobody has to work and everybody just gets to do whatever the fuck they want all day, every day. And everything is just infinitely supplied. Money's not a problem. Everybody can have it. Oh, you want a nice car? You have a nice car. You want unlimited energy? You have unlimited energy. Whatever. Like, that would be fan-fucking-tastic.
Yeah. In a perfect world, but I mean, that's not reality.
Possible. That's not possible. Humans are not. We're a very flawed species. As far as we've come, we are hardwired to do certain things, and one of them, not to quote my favorite band, but we are hardwired to self-destruct. Like, that is a thing. Yeah, that is something that we are going to do. Like, we are going to kill each other. Like, they even, in Terminator, it's like, John Connor asked the Terminator, he's like, we're not going to make it, are we? And it's like, no, probably not. We'll probably destroy ourselves long
in the
before
long run, yeah,
climate change or a pandemic or whatever. But, to make decisions and these people that use the empathy card as like this, it's like a moral currency. It's like it's whoever,
Oh, well, you just lack empathy. It's like,
you lack empathy.
I have it. It's just very selective and it's in very short reserves. And I only use it basically for like a close family member, like a family member or friend who is going through some really rough shit. It's not for every homeless person I see. It's not for every kid with a stutter who might be offended that Trump made fun of Joe. But like, that's absurd. Like you said, it takes up too much time and energy, and you're not thinking straight if that's all you have your mind set on. And it's also genuinely me saying this, it's virtue signaling. It's narcissistic for them to always bring that up because they're like, well, I'm a better person because, and it's like, but you're not.
But you're not. Trust me, you're not.
Avoiding facts and reason.
And I find that a lot of the times too, like some of the people that preach empathy the most, I feel like are some of the most deeply flawed human beings I know. Like it's almost
they're
like
super fucked up. Some of them.
It's almost like this. They're just infinitely projecting. They're like, well, I'm an absolute piece of shit, stinky boy. My whole attic, I have like a stinky boy holocaust going on up here. It's insane. I have like a dozen corpses of stink bugs just like on my desk over here that I have to fucking throw away.
Yeah, I have a 3rd floor apartment and they were around quite a bit last year, and I saw a couple already this year. I usually just suck them up with a vacuum and then.
Yeah, they don't do anything. Like they stink when you crush them. They get that like ammonia.
But I just
smell.
don't like them around. Like they don't serve a purpose like certain spiders or whatever. Like so, it's like no to the vacuum void with you.
No, they always explode in the spring, and I have to kill a bunch of them, and it's actually kind of fun because they're easy to kill, easy to find, and you just crush them up and toss them out the window. But I'm
Yeah.
keeping tabs on how many I kill.
Yeah,
So,
the annoying part for me is they do make a pretty loud buzzing noise when they're flying around, kind of like
yeah,
a loud beetle.
they sound like a fucking helicopter.
Yeah, it's like where's that coming from?
Yeah,
So,
the bzzz,
I
like,
haven't seen any lately.
is that my headphones? Like,
Yeah,
but anyway, what was I saying?
we're
Right,
talking about these
the empathy
overly
people.
empathetic people,
Yeah, and it's like,
and how they project.
they just project because they usually have a lot of deep rooted issues that go along with it. And listen, I get it, dude. Like nobody's perfect, and I'm not judging you. However, if you're going to speak and be extremely overly opinionated on something like politics or
Social issue.
the Second Amendment, social issues, things along those lines, like you really kind of have to, and at least in my opinion, if you're gonna be that strongly opinionated on something, you at least got to have a basic understanding of what you're going after, right? Like years ago, and I won't pick on this person too much, but it always seems to center around the same people. I was having an argument with a friend, and we were discussing the Second Amendment, and it was a back and forth for. I mean, I'm talking over on Facebook. It had to be a back and forth over like 2 or 3 hours of just back and forth, like post counter post, post counter post, and this went on for it was a consistently busy thread for a long time, and like we get like 2.5, 3 hours into this argument, and I come to find out that the person that I'm arguing with doesn't understand, thinks that a semi-automatic rifle is capable of burst and fully automatic fire.
Yeah,
and I'm like, wait a minute, hold on.
because AR stands for assault rifle, Joey. You dummy.
Yeah. Duh.
Couldn't possibly
It stands for automatic rifle 47.
Duh. And bump stocks fucking make them fully automatic, and
oh yeah, dude, those are fucking
even more
super
fully
illegal.
automatic. And also, the bullet can explode somebody's entire body with one round.
Yes, it can. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is a lethal round, and it does have one purpose, which is to kill.
Yes.
But the funny part about firearms is their only purpose is to eliminate. So when people talk about guns and different types of guns, they're like, well, an AR-15's only purpose is to kill. It's like, actually, funny you say that. Every gun's purpose is to kill. A gun is actually a tool used to remove life from things that are living.
Yeah.
It's kind of what they do, why they were invented. Anyway, but we get into this debate, and he doesn't know. He thinks a semi-automatic rifle is capable of burst and automatic fire. And I'm like, wait, have we been going? Hold on. And I asked him, like, what is your understanding of what an AR-15 does? Like, do you know the difference between semi-automatic, automatic, bolt action, like anything? Like, do you know? And he's like, yeah, it's capable of burst fire. I'm like, no. I'm like, absolutely. I'm like, I can't fucking believe I've just wasted 3 hours of my day arguing with somebody who doesn't even understand the basic mechanics and the basic fundamentals of the firearm that they're screaming to be banned, even though they have no idea what the fuck, because they have no idea what they're talking about.
No, but they see the weapon, they buy into the rhetoric and just blatant lies at this point, specifically about an AR style rifle,
right.
And they see it and they're like, "That's an M16."
It's like, actually, it's not.
No, gasoline's not involved.
It looks exactly the same, which is pretty cool. Don't get me wrong. They look rad as fuck, but no, M16s have this little thing called a fun switch. And that's what makes it an M16.
And they're only issued to military personnel.
Yes, and if you want to own one as a civilian, you can. But you'll have to apply to the ATF to get a tax stamp that will explicitly allow you to own fully automatic weapons. And then once you get that tax stamp, which you'll have to renew annually, I believe it is, it's not like your license to carry. You get it once and you can renew it every 5 years or 10 years, whatever it is, and you're good. No, you have to pay to renew it every year. Then you have to keep a detailed log of every firearm that you have. I'm talking detailed to the point where, like, the ATF can audit you at any point whenever they want. So by getting that tax stamp,
in the long run.
by getting that tax stamp, you allow the ATF full access to your weapons at 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, the amount of detail that you need to keep in that log is absurd. you have to, if you take it out of the safe to clean it, you have to log that. When you took it out, what you did with it, when you put it back. And if the ATF comes and audits your log at any point, and like say like, you know, you took it to the range, they say, well, we have this picture of you on Facebook shooting it at a range on you know, whatever May, whatever it is, on May 18th, and your log doesn't have any entries for May 18th. Boom. There goes your, now they confiscate your gun, your tax stamps revoked, they take all your guns, all your licenses are revoked. You're not even allowed to touch or own a firearm now, all because you missed a log entry in a handwritten book. Like, and that's how flimsy it is. Oh, and then on top of it, in order to actually acquire a fully automatic firearm, you're not talking $400, $500, $600, $700, $1,000. You're talking thousands of dollars. I mean, I'm talking like into the tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
To actually acquire fully automatic weapons in some instances. So it's not something some fucking 17-year-old, you know, junior in high school is going to get his hands on. You know, he's not getting his hands on an M16 that's fully automatic, and he's going to go and mow down a bunch of kids with it. Nope, it's all semi-automatic. One bullet per trigger pull. But to my original point, like, this person didn't know those basic fundamentals, and yet they were so passionately and vehemently passionately arguing and vehemently against people owning these types of weapons, and they didn't even know what they were arguing against.
Yeah, and it's that misinformation.
But it came back to, but what about the kids? There's 22 dead kids in a school, and I'm like, yeah, great, but the thing you're saying to get rid of isn't going to bring those kids back, and even if we didn't have it, it wouldn't have prevented those kids from getting killed in the first place. So it's a moot point.
Yeah, and most of those shootings, as unfortunate and unnecessary as they are, yes, sometimes an AR-15 is involved, but more often than not, it's a semi-automatic handgun, which is...
I mean, look at Columbine. They Tech 9s and handguns, and it was one of the deadliest school shootings in our country's history. And one of the worst. I mean, just the way they did it and carried it out was so, like, deeply personal.
And methodical, and like, that was...
disgusting.
Yeah. Yes, truly just disgusting. That's the best.
I mean, I remember that one like it was yesterday.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was huge. I mean, we were in high school when it happened, so it's.
I was.
Well, I was. It was freshman year.
Grade for me.
Yeah, it was my freshman year in the spring. But yeah, I mean that.
420, Hitler's birthday.
Yeah, buddy.
Just please.
Oh, this year was Easter, so you know Jesus is risen, man. He's so high.
Man, imagine the party at Kanye's house, like Hitler's birthday falls on Easter. That must have been a wild one.
Oh, there was a lot of, oh, Jesus.
I didn't even think of that.
Literally, oh, Jesus.
Right?
But yeah, there's, especially when it comes to that specific weapon involved, the misinformation is outweighing the truth behind it, and these people, it's just Google it. The first thing that pops up is an AR-15, an assault rifle, fully automatic weapon. No, it is not. Straight up, right there, first thing you see.
And people, and you know, the thing is, Travis, people don't want to know, right? They don't want to know the difference. They don't care. They go by what Rachel Maddow tells them, or you know, Cuomo, or whoever their Tapper, whatever, whoever they're listening to that night. That's who they go. That's who they go by. Like, they don't give a shit if, you know, you or I have to give up our, you know, sacrifice our constitutional God-given rights in this country, because even if it's, you know, and I love that even if it saves just one life. I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. Like, we could, you know, why are we not doing more to ban texting and driving then? Why are we not doing more to make cars safer and bring speed limits down? Like, you know, I follow Facebook pages and Instagram accounts where it's like, you see people die every single day on the highways, and I feel like you read about it almost every day, but, you know, nobody bats an eye. And funny thing about it is, driving is not a right in this country; it's a privilege. Whereas owning a firearm is a right, not a privilege. Like, it is my right as an American. So, again, these people argue it, and they're so ignorant to the facts and the truth, and they don't want to know them. Because once you present somebody on the left, and I always say this with leftists, like, and liberals in general, is their entire arguments are based on emotion and feelings. Like, I feel I'm afraid, and I feel like we should get rid of those guns because I'm afraid of them. Cool, man. I'm afraid of sharks. Like, should we get rid of sharks? Like, I'm terrified of flying. Should nobody be allowed to fly? Like, and they're like, well, that's ridiculous. Well, is it? Because that's exactly what you're saying. But once you present to them facts and logic, their arguments come apart at the seams, and all they have to do is revert back to the emotional appeal of it. Of, well, even if it saves just one life, just one child, or my favorite one is the immigration one, where they're like, well, if I was living in a country run by warlords and I had my kids, like, I would be doing everything to get my kids out of that country too. And it's like, okay, see what you just did there? Like, you just went back to you tried to put it, you tried to frame it in a way where, like, you put me in the situation, like, made me try to feel like a father. And what would I do if they were my kids? Well, first of all, like, I probably, if I lived in that country, I wouldn't know any different. Like, that would just be how life is down here. We don't.
Norm.
Yeah, that's the norm. So I probably wouldn't be as apt to get them out of there. But and then you explain to those people, like, yeah, but most of those kids that are coming up here, they're kidnapped and trafficked. They're not the kids of the people that are bringing them up here. They're pawns and tools that are being used to get up here. And they're like, yeah, but how many? And it's like, well, I don't know. Even if it saves just one life, right? Like, isn't it just one? Like, isn't that enough? Like, so you get this emotional appeal that they try to hit you with, and that's what I think when it comes down to it. That's where I start to truly, like, resent empathy, because I see how much it clouds their vision, and I see how much it causes them to not be able to see the forest through the trees, and they can't see the big picture. They can't understand the issues that they're going after are usually such fringe nonsense, like, issues where nothing is really that important.
Yeah.
But it's a hot button issue in the media right now. School shootings are always one, right? Anytime a school shooting happens or a mass shooting happens, it carries out. Oh, it's some white guy in a school, and oh, look where it happened, Texas, with all their gun laws. It's like, no. And then you find out, like, it's a transgender kid going after a Catholic school that they had a vendetta against for 10 years, and
then the story disappears.
Yeah, and the FBI, they were on the FBI's radar somehow, but nobody could stop them. But all that being said, like, it always comes back to the emotional appeal, and that's what makes me resent the empathy aspect of things as much as I do. Not because I don't possess the capability of being empathetic. I certainly do, but not when it comes to making policy decisions.
No,
when it comes to making policy decisions,
Yeah.
it's very black and white for me. Like, it is. Listen, I would have loved it if Joe Biden had pushed through this whole student loan forgiveness thing, and my student loans got wiped out. I would have laughed my ass off, because guess what? I'm paying that money back either way. Whether the government erases my student debt and I pay it back through taxes over the next 10, 15, 20 years, or I just pay it off myself, either way, that money's coming out of my pocket, because money's not free. And I just laugh, because I'm like, I'm still not voting for you. Like, I mean, cool, if you want to be a dumbass and take my debt and spread it around to the rest of the country, I mean, sure, I'll take you up. Like Trump said, about his Les Snead anecdote the other day. When somebody gives you a putt, pick the ball up and say thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was being a little long-winded there, but that was the culmination of a couple of arguments with the same person that I've had over the last 10, 15 years. And even though I argue, like, that person is usually the catalyst for most of these arguments, even though I'm not going after that person particularly, I usually try to go after the people that chime in on their posts, because that's where I truly get worried, is that there are people out there, Trav, that you talked about misinformation and people failing to, like, understand and learn. People are still out there parroting the same shit.
Yeah.
6-7 years ago. Like, I actually had a woman the other day tell me, try to say to me that Donald Trump this is the same guy that said there were very fine people on both sides when he was talking about Nazis. I'm like, what? I'm like, you don't actually still believe that, do you?
Well, because they only watched the clip where he just says that, and it's not the full context. Same with almost everything else that they misquote him on.
But this has been like one of the most easily debunked things in the last 5-6 years. Like, I mean, it was easy to debunk it day one, but nobody got the air. It never got the airplay. And then, Joe Biden goes up and says it on the campaign trail at one point, and whatever in the debate, I think it was. And
yep, along with the Trump calling veterans suckers and losers, which was easily immediately debunked. Like, no, that wasn't him. It was somebody else, basically doing an impersonation of him, and
right.
That's immediately debunked. Like, my former drummer, he made a post about that recently, and I went on there and I posted a link to Reuters, which is pretty neutral, down the middle outlet for the most part. It clearly states exactly how it was not true, and he might have responded. Frankly, I didn't care to look at it because I knew it was just going to be more rhetoric from his end. But they're at war with reality. If it doesn't fit their narrative to a T, then they always come back with some bullshit excuse as to why this blatant lie. It's not even misinformation at this point. It's just lies. Straight up lies.
And that's the thing. They just keep they lie. Then the lie gets debunked, and then instead of like. And that's why it's so frustrating.
Got debunked by Fox News or whatever. It's like, no, it's not even Fox News.
Right. It's like, actually, no. Here's how the Washington Post retracting it. Like, it doesn't get much more left-leaning than that. But what I think is like frustrating about a lot of this stuff, and it's why I go so hard in the paint, is because these people forget so quickly. Like, they'll forget that, like, they'll hear something, it'll get debunked, it'll be proven right, and like you and I will be like, yeah, we knew this. Like, just take like anything from COVID, for example. Like, we were sitting here going, this is fucking bullshit. None of this is true. This is not real. And 6 months later, that comes out like, actually, yeah, we were right. Like, look at that.
Yep. Shit.
On the timeline, and you're like, oh, so like when you were wrong about this, and they're like, yeah, but who cares about that? We're on to this now. And it's like, well, you should care about that because you were dead wrong about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we're not worried about that. Trump called people suckers and losers. Like, and I'm like, okay, so when this gets disproven, then you disprove that within a 20, like, but that 24-hour window is all you have to discredit it or disprove it. And by the time it gets to 36 hours, like, they're on to the next thing. And they don't even care about that thing anymore. And they're like, nope, he said it. Doesn't matter what anybody says now. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't get them in that's the frustrating thing for me is like when you go back and like, I wish like it was easier to go back on Facebook and find old posts, like very specific posts. Like, I know you can do it. I've done it before a million times, but like, I wish it was easier to do it. Like, where you could like bookmark a post, you know what I mean? For later, like, just bookmark this and save it for later. Because I'm going to come back to this in 6 months and talk about, like, I used to do it for sports stuff all the time. Like, I could go back and, go back to a post in September when somebody's like, the Patriots are going 17-0 and, they lose the, opening day. And I'm like, how'd that go? You know what I mean? Like, that's easy because it's within a week. But like, when somebody says something in September and it's January and you want to go back and you're like, fuck, like now it's buried under like just a billion different things. You're like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
But that's the frustrating part is when you're right and like you're right in the moment, then you get validated further on down the road because the truth actually does come out.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, wait, who was I even arguing with about this? Fuck, like
it could be anybody.
Yeah, it's like it was everybody. Like, goddamn. And I think the mistake that I've made over the last probably like 2 or 3 years is assuming that everyone is as plugged into this stuff as I am. And while like I'm a junkie for this stuff and I follow it and I listen to, 2 or 3 different podcasts every week, some daily, some weekly, whatever. But I'm constantly reading, I'm constantly in the news, I'm constantly looking things up, I'm constantly going over like it's what I do now. Like it's my new NFL. You know what I mean? Is politics and what's going on in the world and the kind of the story of the day.
Yeah.
And I assume that most normal adults, I'm like, yeah, this is what adults do, right? Like these are the things that are important to you when you get to this age. No, not at all. They're still just so fucking off in la la land that they have no fucking clue. They think what they hear the first time, they take it at face value, they run with it, and then they don't give a fuck if it gets disproven or blown up 6 months later. Because they're just going to double down on it anyway because their ego's too fragile. And like the age old saying of, it's easier to lie to somebody than convince them they've been lied to. Like how many times have you gone to your boy and been like, dude, she's cheating on you? It's like, nah, and she's not. And it's like, nah, she really is. Like, and then 6 months later, it's like, damn, man, I can't believe that bitch was cheating on me. It's like, really? Like, we fucking showed you the video.
Yeah, she was sucking a guy's dick and
like he literally tapped it on her chin. Like,
yeah.
She literally got a tattoo that says, "This pussy belonged to you, not my man."
Yeah.
Like,
as a tramp stamp, of course, and
yeah, like I'm like, nah, dude. I'm like, that's just ridiculous. Like, but that's what people do because their egos won't let them. You know what I mean? Because everybody's gonna make their own mistakes, right? I guess. But I don't know.
Yeah,
why.
the cognitive dissonance on the left is just it's reached critical mass at this point. It's
actually fascinating because because I don't think a lot of them realize how quickly their party is coming apart at the seams. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't.
Yet another thing that they're in denial about. Like,
yeah, like you look ahead, like, not that I'm getting too far ahead of myself here, but like you look ahead to 2028 and you're like, who the fuck are the Dems going to dig up to run? You know what I mean? Is it going to be Gavin Newsom? That's going to be an abject disaster. I mean, right now, I think Kamala Harris is still the leader in the clubhouse.
Probably.
And she didn't receive a single vote in the last primary. Like, David Hogg just got expelled from his little committee thing.
Good, because he had no business being in politics in the first place. Like,
no, he's an absolute asshole. Him and that other, what was the other kid, Cameron something that survived, and they went on their little talk show tour.
Yeah, and, it was the girl. Yeah, she's
no, evaded. It was a guy. His name was Cameron.
I was thinking of there was a girl that was also big.
Yeah, she blew up right in the beginning. She was there.
It was her and Hogg, and then the other guy. But she kind of faded into obscurity. She didn't really make a career out of it like those two others did.
Well, the Cameron kid faded away. Hogg is the only one I've seen still like around. But the Cameron kid was the one that went on, I don't know what talk show it was, but he was the one that was like screaming at the audience, like, you're not going to tell us. We don't know policy. He's like, we were in the school shootings. We were shot at. We're experts on this. Like, we're the ones you need to listen to. I'm like, no.
Just because you were there doesn't mean you were an expert on it. Just because I've been on a boat before doesn't make me a goddamn captain.
Yeah, like that's like, actually not how that works at all.
Yeah.
It's actually the exact opposite a lot of times. But
yeah, you went through something that's truly awful, but that doesn't mean you are the authority on this. It has to be.
You're not an authority on the Second Amendment, bub. Like you're not even graduated high school yet.
No, you can
like,
state your.
The whole audience starts clapping like seals. No, I go.
You can state your. Make your statements on your experience being there and how you'd like things to change for the better or whatever, and that's all well and good, but to explicitly say you're an expert and you need to listen to me on this because you weren't there, that doesn't hold any water.
No, not at all. And ultimately, again, and I know we've kind of gone like long-winded roundabout way in this.
Yeah, we'll get back to Biden's cancer in a second.
But yeah, but like ultimately, like all of this that we've just talked about for the last like 25 minutes in terms of like all this and this resentment towards empathy is exactly why I am just full of glee last night when I find out that Joe Biden has cancer. Now,
I mean, yeah, I'm not celebrating the fact that he has it.
I am, and I don't care
That's
who knows
fair.
it. I fucking detest that man. He tried to listen, if it was up to him, I would have been thrown in a gulag somewhere, for not getting the clot shot. He would have, he wants me dead because of the uniform I wear to work every day. He's been in Washington for 50 years and he's done nothing but undermine and subvert and try to destroy the United States from within. I have absolutely zero remorse in my body for that man. Him, Hillary Clinton, and probably like Barack Obama, probably like my top three. Now, listen, I don't wish death upon anybody. I think it's bad karma. It's not good. I just don't do that. However, I will celebrate certain people's demise.
Yes.
Even if that ultimately means they die. I don't think I've ever celebrated someone dying before. This might be the first time. But this man is an abhorrent human being. He's a pedophile. He's a liar. He's an absolute fucking, just one of the worst fucking human beings, I think. And he just lies about being like, I'm Scranton Joe. Like, I'm just next door old man Grampy. Like, no, fuck you. You're a fucking pedophile. You're a fucking loser. You're a fucking liar. You've lied about everything your whole life. You're nothing but a grifter. And you've done nothing but sell this country out for 50 years in Washington, D.C. Good riddance, you piece of fucking shit. I hope you rest in shit. Like, I want you to go to the 7th circle of hell, and then they get there and they're like, actually, you know what? We're gonna build an 8th circle because you're that big of a piece of shit.
Oh, beyond traitors.
Yeah. You know, like I hope hell never runs out of donuts like they did for Homer for you.
Yeah. You'll be passing Judas on the way down to your new lower level, and even he's gonna be like, damn, son.
Right? Like Hitler and Judas are gonna be sitting there going, damn, what did you
we thought
do?
we were bad.
Shit.
And now, while I will not celebrate it, I will when it happens, because at this point it's, stage 4. This is gonna claim him eventually.
I'm quite literally going to pop a bottle of champagne.
I'm not saying I won't. I will in my mind be like, good, because I do agree with everything that you just said about him and how he is as a person. In a crypt, but I especially wouldn't wish cancer upon anybody. But it's like, well, that's the card he was dealt, and am I gonna feel bad when he's gone? No.
I mean, I don't. Like I said, I don't wish cancer upon anybody, but I'm not mad that he got it.
That's how I feel about it too.
Yeah, I'm not mad, and you know what? I'm actually kind of glad he got it, and I'm kind of glad it's gonna get him. And honestly, the only thing that would have made this better is if it gotten him sooner. In my opinion, I just.
Well, I mean, it did. It's just they didn't acknowledge it because they were horrified of letting that be known. But now we have to think that was, the primary reason as to why they had him withdraw. Other than the fact that, oh shit, now actually mainstream media is paying attention to his cognitive decline.
See, I think this was all part of the plan. I think obviously they knew he had the cancer, and then his plan. The plan was to get him reelected to beat Trump again.
He was always going to beat Kamala just to see him one way or another. They
were going to pass the torch to Kamala, and
they had to expedite it though.
Yeah, and they had to expedite it because his cognitive ability started to fail way before the cancer was going to get him. Mm-hmm. So they knew the cancer was going to get him eventually, and they could have 25th Amendmented him, at any point after he won, and everybody would have been like, oh, poor old man.
Yeah,
and Not for nothing either. As much as I hate Joe Biden, like Jill Biden and her whole clan are infinitely worse. I mean,
yes,
I can at least understand like the level of elder abuse that took place in the last 5 years in this country on the grandest stage that we have is absolutely fucking wild, dude.
Yeah, and I know for sure that
dirty.
We talked about this when we started this show because it was, in September of last year, and so the election's right there, right on the doorstep of it. And I believe that was like a big talking point that we brought up because it's like they're just parading this poor man with I don't mean poor man in the sense of like, oh, woe is me to him, but like because of his mental state, it's like. That's not right. Like you said, it's elder abuse. Like, he clearly doesn't know where he is, what he's talking about.
Dude, he's shaking hands with ghosts. He's tripping over turf monsters. He's, he's incoherently babbling about the foot of the
Yeah, he can't find his way on and off stage. He's talking in reference to people that are. He's like, "Oh, where's my friend? What's her name?" And they're like,
"She's been dead for 6 years." Like, what are you talking about?
Ah, shit. Like
I wonder why she wasn't at my birthday party last year. Son of a bitch.
Oh, I thought I gave her a hot dog and an ice cream cone.
It's unreal.
Maybe you did in your mind, sir, but not in reality. Like,
it was all up here. But yeah, this was a. You want to talk about world-class elder abuse? And again, I don't have any sympathy for Joe Biden or the Biden family. Because again, and this guy's he's such a detestable fucking human being. Like. Every time he gets in trouble or somebody's like pressing him hard on questions and like you know, again, he'll appeal to the emotion, right? And he'll bring up his son Bo and be like, "My son was killed," and Bo, and like try to lecture you about something, you know, based on the fact that his son died of a brain tumor, and he'll be like, "My son was killed in Iraq." It's like, no, your son died of a brain tumor.
Yeah,
He died of a brain tumor that he got in Iraq, and you're like, no.
And in either case, whether it was a brain tumor or being killed in Iraq, which we know the truth, neither of those points are relevant to anything that he was, responding to.
It's like, sir,
what are you talking about?
We're investigating you for inappropriate relationship with a minor, and he's like, "My son was killed." Yeah, that's not going to work here today, bro.
Yeah, wait. What are we talking about here?
Yeah, like it's not that's not it, Chief. But I just the whole situation is fucked, beyond fucked. I mean, the elder abuse, the fact that Joe Biden is just, God, I fucking cannot stomach that man. I will be, the day he goes 6 feet under will be a great day in my life and a great day for America. But he is a detestable human being. And I've hated that man. My hatred for him started before he was even Obama's VP, before anyone even knew who he was. So people are like, people think this is like some Johnny come lately opinion that I have of him. Like, no, if you've known me for the last, 15, 20 years, you'll know that when they did the congressional hearings on steroids in baseball back in 2005, 2006, and Joe Biden was up there, like, pointing his finger at Rafael Palmeiro and Mark McGuire, being like, I was a good baseball player, and it's because of guys like you, I didn't get a fair shake. And I'm like,
No, dude, you were not going to be in the MLB. What the fuck are you talking about?
Kiss my fucking ass, dude. You're like 5'9", 160 pounds. Like, you were not going to the fucking majors. You did not get cut because guys were taking steroids. No, you probably just sucked at baseball. Like 99.9% of everybody else who gets cut from their high school or college team, it's because they suck.
Yeah, guess what? It's super hard and extremely rare to become a pro athlete in sports, in any sport.
But Joe Biden was going to be one. He was
baseball, especially, because hitting a baseball.
He was the next Ted Williams.
I was about to say, I was going to be the next Ted Williams. My T-ball coach told me that. Like,
yeah. It's why I could never play semi-pro football, because every guy that ever plays semi-pro football, they all have the same story. Like, yeah, I'd have been the next, like, Randy Moss if my coach in high school didn't fucking hate me. But, I'm like, oh, yeah, because every high school head coach around the country is looking around.
Maybe it's because you run an 8-second 40. Like,
yeah. It's like, that guy right there, now he is a future NFL Hall of Famer. But you know what? I don't like the way he looked at my daughter one time when they were in T-ball, so fuck that guy.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't work like that, dude. You just suck. Like, you just suck. Sorry, that's why you're playing semi-pro with the rest of us. But I digress.
Except you're the hand that has been dealt to you. Just be happy that you're playing it at all.
Yeah, honestly. I mean, listen,
if you love it that much, then you should just be happy that you're doing it still.
Correct. You shouldn't worry about how much money you're not making because you didn't have a chance to become one of 1,500 people in the world that get that opportunity on any given Sunday. But
now you're just bitter. And yeah, my final thoughts on the whole thing with Biden. I mentioned this, before we went live. Several Facebook pages that pop up in my algorithm because I'm constantly commenting and laugh reacting them because it's just liberal nonsense, hive mind bullshit. There was that one, it's a Facebook profile that is God, quote unquote. It's just like a cartoon picture of God. Super left-leaning. And they didn't specifically say what it was in regards to, but it was clear what he was referring to, and that is the diagnosis that was, made public yesterday. I said, what do you think about the news that was released yesterday? Like, the first 20 comments was, happened to the wrong president. Oh, I hope he outlives Trump. And this, that, and the other thing. It's like, and the one thing is that some of these people, I will click on their profile just to see who it is. This trend I'm noticing is, it is all middle-aged white people or elderly white people that are just so riddled with white guilt. And the other thing is, and even if they're not in that age demographic, they're all white, and they're just, and even if they're younger, they are, the best term I can use to describe them is decrepit ghouls. They want nothing more than Donald Trump to be killed. And they're openly calling for it. And I made a comment on that post. I said, you were the guys. Wait, first of all, I said, he's had this for years. They're just telling us this now. So they've been lying to us this whole time, like they have with the Licket, but almost everything else they're saying. And you're the same people that are saying, I wish Trump had actually been killed. Or I still wish it to this day. And wish somebody would. And they're like, oh, well, just Biden, he's just such a great guy. He's done so much. He's worked nearly his entire life for this country, and he's done such a great job. It's like, name one goddamn thing that he's done that's good, that's benefited anything other than himself or his agenda.
Guys never put a what was it, a like major piece of legislation through at any point. Like he's never had any impactful legislation that he's signed his name onto in his entire
not a
career.
Single one. And if you disagree with that, just look it up because it's a goddamn stone cold truth right there.
Again, this goes back to they don't want to look it up. They would rather just assume that they're right and the facts be damned.
Mm-hmm. But it's truly horrifying for me to see people make those comments and then also, claim to be morally superior just because it's out of spite and it's not Donald Trump. It's
Absolutely.
It's all fair game when it comes to Donald Trump and whatever they say about him. But
correct.
The moment anything negative is revealed about somebody that they follow, and really they're only following and in support of that person out of spite because they simply are not Donald Trump. I mean, that was Kamala's entire platform during her presidential campaign. I am just not Donald Trump. I really don't have any other ideas. Oh, wait, the no tax on tips? Yeah, I like that. Well, Trump said it 3 months ago.
We'll steal that real quick.
It's just absurd. They've lost their grasp on observable reality, and it is all just reactionary, emotional nonsense.
Yep, 100%.
I will be the first to admit when I'm wrong, or I make a statement in favor of one thing, and I'm like, it turns out later, okay, no, that wasn't true. I will admit it. They are completely incapable of doing that, and it's just, again, I've said this before on here. They say that we're in a cult. Well, they're in a literal hive mind. They've not had an original thought since 2016. It's just consume, regurgitate the same nonsense that's being said. Don't think about it. Just say it because Orange Man bad.
Orange Man bad. It's the same, and it's the same lazy shit over and over and over again. And that's what, and to echo your point, like you said, that they like to take the moral high ground, which again is why I'm not being. Normally, I would never, or at least not publicly, celebrate someone or gloat about somebody dying, because I think it's generally in poor taste. In this case, I'm willing to make an exception because, again, this man literally tried to destroy the country and was willing to throw half of us in jail or kill us if he was elected again, if it came down to it. Like, as a straight white male in this country, we were on a really bad path under the Democrats. So glad it didn't happen. I saw the writing on the wall, and I'm glad it didn't happen. That being said, all these same people that try to take the moral high ground were the same ones that just felt the utter and complete disappointment on July 13th when they found out that Trump was shot but not dead.
Yeah.
They're like, Trump got shot, but he's alive. Oh. And it was like, they just like, damn it, like we almost had him. Fuck. Like, and they were, and I mean, again, like you said, every comment, all these things people saying, like,
yeah, I mean, Tenacious D had to cancel the remaining dates of their tour because Kyle Gass got up on stage while they're in Australia and said it was during his birthday. And they brought out a cake. Jack Black's holding the cake. Kyle blows out the candles. And they go, what do you wish for? He's like, don't miss next time.
Yeah.
He didn't. So we all knew what he was saying.
Right.
And the reason they had to cancel the rest of the tour wasn't because necessarily like their representation disagreed with it. It was because they were like, oh shit, it might not be safe for them to perform places now because he said a stupid thing.
You literally just told 77 million people like fuck you.
Yeah. And
not a good idea.
And the same thing with Comey saying 8647 with that post. Oh,
Yep.
well, 86 is a restaurant term. It means, to axe, to get rid of something on the menu. It's like, yes, but it's also a military term that means to eliminate. It does inherently mean to get rid of, to eliminate, one way or another.
Ultimately, originated I believe it originated as a restaurant term. Which, it's like, okay, hey, like, 86 spinach. Like, we don't have spinach. Okay.
Yeah, we don't have it yet. We got to take it off the menu.
Every restaurant I ever worked in had an 86 board in the back,
Yes.
And, like, we would always write dumb shit on there, like dignity, my life, like, shit like that.
My reason to live.
It's like, why am I here for my third straight double?
So,
like, what the fuck?
So, yes, that is true, but it also has that meaning the military use it. We got to 86 this guy. Get rid of him.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a common, it's a common term. It's a common phrase that gets thrown around that means to get rid of something, to eliminate something.
So it has more than, that's the thing. Words in terms have different definitions and meanings depending on the context.
Does it explicitly mean like to assassinate a president? No. But I don't see how you infer it any other way. That's the only way you can take that. 86-47.
Oh, I meant to impeach it. We just got to vote it. Well, you can't. You have tried everything.
And also, like, I'm not buying that. I'm not. I mean,
neither am I.
I was born at night, not last night.
I can see
you actually think I am. Like, I know
I
you
can
think
read
very
between the
lowly
lines.
of me,
And yes, you can, but that's the thing, because it's not explicitly made clear, it is somewhat open to interpretation, but come on.
Correct.
Like, consider the source. This is a disgraced former FBI director. Like, we know what he meant.
Right. We all know what he meant. We all know what he was saying. And again, it's the reason why I don't feel bad, or I'm not taking my foot off the gas with this one, is because all these motherfuckers, all these same people that are going to chastise me and tell me it's a bad look, bad taste, whatever, are the same people that were rooting so hard for Trump to get killed all summer and wanted him and wished he'd been dead,
And still want it right now.
Yep. Like, it would celebrate tomorrow. Like, they would be partying in the streets tomorrow if Trump was assassinated in the Middle East. Like, they'd be buying the T-shirts of the terrorist group that did it. And they'd be wearing them with no shame. They'd have no shame about it. And so that's why I don't give a fuck. And if anybody, you want to unfriend me, block me, like, honestly, I don't fucking care. And people don't understand this. And, like, I've always had this rule since social media was a thing. It's a rule for me. If I wouldn't say it to your face, I won't say it on Facebook.
Absolutely.
So anything that I say, like, when somebody tells me, like, oh, I hope you're not actually, you don't actually think the way that you present on here. Actually, no. The way I present on here is just, this is more like my diary than it is a stage for me. So, what I'm telling you, like, when I say, like, hashtag pave Gaza, I literally mean pave Gaza. Like,
I say the same thing.
Bombs, get rid
Glass
of it.
parking lot.
Yep. No need for the people there. I don't give a fuck about their kids. And they're like, well, there's children starving there, and they shouldn't have to pay for the adults' mistakes. I'm like, maybe not. But guess what? Those little 8-year-old kids that are starving that you're so, like, upset about, if one of their dads gave him a gun and said, go blow that guy's head off right now, he's an infidel, he would do it with a smile on his face. So, no, they're little fucking savages. I don't care. They can all fucking die. They're my enemies. They want me dead. And anybody who wants me dead, my only option is to meet them with the same level of intensity. And that's what I will do. So when I say pave Gaza, I mean it. I couldn't give two fucks about the Gaza Strip or the Palestinians. They're a terrorist organization. They're a terrorist country. Fuck them all. Or in the words of, Mr. Garrison, fuck them all to death.
Fuck them all to death.
But I don't care. I don't have sympathy for those people. They're fucking savages, and that's how they live their lives, and that's how they want to be. Fine, that's fine. You can do that, but don't expect my sympathy, and don't expect me to feel bad for you when you're using, children's hospitals as human shields, and 72 kids get killed in an airstrike because, in the basement of that children's hospital is a massive weapons cache that you're using to kill, people. And I'm like, I don't want to get on the whole fucking Gaza thing but that was another thing too. Like, that got me aggravated about that like started that whole situation.
Yep.
Like, do we not remember the Palestinians parachuting into a fucking
Music festival.
concert and raping, murdering, and mutilating 1,200 innocent fucking like people? Like, do we not remember that? Like, it's like they just dismiss that and they're like, yeah, but look what the IDF is doing. I don't give a fuck. Whatever they're doing, it's not enough.
Look, I'm not a fan of both sides, and I've gone on the record to say that before.
Yeah, I'm not. But listen,
but one of them is clearly
with Israel too. But
one of them is clearly worse than the other, and I find it.
One of them is 7,000 years behind the rest of the modern world. The other one isn't.
And I find increasingly hilarious that the alphabet community is in favor of the one that would.
Isn't that fascinating?
That would immediately kill them if they were around them.
It's got to be like some form of Stockholm syndrome.
You got a one-way ticket off a tall building, or worse, if you are part of that community and you were in their occupied area right now. Straight up, they have zero tolerance for gay and queer and all of those. Whatever letter you associate with, they want you dead, just based on who you are.
Yeah.
Now I will call you a mentally deranged idiot for claiming to be, one or a couple of those things, but I won't. I don't want you dead because of it.
Yeah, I don't
unless you touch kids. Unless you touch kids,
well,
then yes.
Yeah, and then in which case it's feet first into the wood.
But otherwise, but otherwise, if you're living your life, you're not shoving it down everybody's throat. You just want to. Be you. Great. I don't give a shit. It's not my.
Yeah, that doesn't bother me, dude. Like again, it's not something I'm like concerned with every day. That these transgender. Listen, I think transgendered people they're mentally ill and they need help. And I don't think letting a 9-year-old kid chop his dick off is going to help anything. But what do I know? I'm only married to a doctor. I'm not actually one. So I can only speak so much on it. But no, it's. The hypocrisy knows no bounds. They have no shame. And that's, I think, ultimately what this whole thing comes down to, is that they, like you said, they're living on a level of delusion that is we've never seen before. And
this is it's bored to me. I have no problem referring it to as like mass hysteria. Like, it's not a hallucination. Well, maybe it is a mass hallucination, but it's not like seeing a vision of Mary like in Fatima. Because that was considered a mass hallucination if it wasn't an outright religious thing. But this is just, mass hysteria. It is unprecedented as far as I can tell. Like, this level of misinformation continuously being debunked, but also perpetuated as truth. And then they just deny, and call you a bigot, and don't have anything to contribute to the conversation other than that. Once they know the jig is up, it's astounding. Like, it hurts my brain to think of sometimes. Something like, how can you be this fucking dumb?
I ask myself that, and that's one of the questions I ask a lot of the times when I get into these debates with people. I'm like, how can you be so fucking ignorant and stupid? And I'm not saying that like because I think you're a bad person. I'm legitimately curious.
I want to know why. Like, how did you reach? How is it you come to be here now? Like, in the state.
Like, I don't ever look at myself like I don't ever consider myself the smartest guy in the room, or at least not very often. And if I do consider myself the smartest guy in the room at any point, it's usually not a good thing. Where I'm like,
you're like, I gotta get out of here. I'm fucked.
Yeah, I kind of want to get out of here. But the fact of the matter is that I find myself 5, 10, 15 steps ahead of people in a lot of these debates and these arguments and these issues, and I'm
unintentionally too.
And I'm constantly, rather than like actually debating them on what it is that the issue is, it ends up just being me correcting them and not providing anything new, but just correcting their what they think is their knowledge. Like, I'm like, no, you're wrong. This was this. This happened. This happened. This happened. This is why. This is what this is. Like, that was fake. You were lied to. And it's like, I have access to the same information as everybody else. I don't have some secret fucking website that I go to that gives me all the answers to the tests. So why is it that I know these things and you don't? And I think that's what frustrates the shit out of me, is that I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I will argue these points passionately, but I'm arguing them from a point of actually understanding them, where you're just arguing them from a point where you read the headline and it fits your narrative.
And you're like,
You know what I mean?
there it is. There's all the proof I need. Because they are allergic to looking at things objectively. It's just blinders on.
Yeah, and if I'm presented with new information that changes the way I think, so be it. I welcome that.
Exactly. Well, let me look into it further. Maybe I am wrong.
I mean,
let's sift through the facts here, or wait until more information comes to light.
It's like when people always talk about like the January 6th, they're like, well, they beat that cop to death with the fire extinguisher. I'm like,
what?
They didn't. Like I have to pull up the New York Times retraction and everything else and prove it to them. And they're like, oh, I'm gonna have to look more into that. Like, what are you fucking talking about? I'm literally showing it to you. I don't know if I believe it. It's like, oh, okay. So it doesn't really matter what I say. You've already made your mind up, and no matter what, when you're so now that you're being presented with new information that could impact the way you think, you're just dismissing it as nope, because whatever decision I made first is the right one. It's like, well, this is why you're on your third marriage, Janice. Like, maybe fucking get a clue.
As long as it goes against their narrative, then they immediately dismiss it and say, no, I'm right, you're wrong, fuck you.
It's not sports, right? Like you can do that in sports all day. Where you're like, Tom Brady's the best. And I'm like, no, he's not. Like, yeah, he is. Like, we can have an argument, but at the end of the day, it's subjective. This is not subjective. This is
they're stating their opinions as absolute truth, and they don't back it up other than, well, I just don't like what you said. And
well, that's how I feel. It's like, yeah, great. You're allowed to feel however you want. That doesn't make it a fact.
Yeah, no, not at all. Again, it's a cliche at this point, but facts don't care about your feelings.
Nope.
It's that simple, and they hate hearing that.
And ultimately, it comes down to one of my favorite sayings ever is that Democrats think that Republicans are bad people with ideas, whereas Republicans think Democrats are people with bad ideas. And it's a very, to me, that it boils down to it really is that simple. I don't look at a Democrat and think that's a bad person. I think they got really bad ideas, but I don't think they're a bad person. Now, some of them are. Joe Biden, absolutely, total piece of shit, evil, vindictive. Hillary Clinton, same thing. They look at me and they think he's a bad person, and he's got big ideas, and that's a problem for us because he's inherently evil and inherently bad because he doesn't use pronouns in his bio, or he doesn't believe in climate change, or he doesn't think that Greta Thunberg is a saint, or you don't celebrate Caitlyn Jenner hard enough. Like, dude, no, I'm not a bad person. Just because I don't make decisions based on empathy, and I don't look at one starving kid in Gaza and be like, "Oh my God!" As a parent, that is just appalling. It's like, what do you think? You're the first person to ever become a fucking parent? Like, grow up.
Yeah,
get a fucking clue.
You mentioned Greta. She's now on full board Palestine side.
Yeah,
she's out there wearing the goddamn fucking
the burqas or whatever.
Shamags and what was the other one that you just mentioned there too? Right after her,
Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah, you know what? Yes, trans. That's Bruce Jenner, but they're based though. They take a pretty firm right-leaning stance when it comes to a lot of things. Specifically, oddly enough, when it comes to trans women in female sports. Even they're like, no, I would have a total advantage if I were. If I were at a young enough age to do that.
Imagine Bruce Jenner transitioning 30 years ago and being like, all right, I'm going to go run in my, men's 400 meter sprint league. Oh, well.
Yeah.
Guess I'll just reside the second then. Like, women's, you're like, oh, okay, cool.
I mean, he's a Olympic decathlon gold medalist. Imagine if, 10 years after that, so like sometime in the 80s, he decided to transition then and then join the women's Olympic team. He would probably smoke all of them. Like, even 10 years past his prime.
Anybody who has thinks, and like honestly, I think too, the trans people is like, again, a lot of them are pretty right leaning and somewhat based, but a lot of them are just fucked. Like they're mentally fucked. Like Leah Thomas is just a total pervert.
Yes.
I mean, he's a total Skinner. Masquerading as a female so that he could gain access to female locker rooms. Like, just go listen to Riley Gaines's firsthand accounts of having to share a locker room with that freak, and what it was like him like getting full on erections in the locker room.
And now she's the one that needs protection when she does public speaking events.
Yeah, no shit.
It happened again like last week or the week before. It's fucking terrible. Like,
right, people just attack these people. I mean, and again, we all know the people who are doing it. We all know they're paid actors. We all know they're paid, pro agitators. Like, they're not actual people. No one is actually that upset that we don't want men in women's sports. Like, no one. That's like a 90-10 issue. So anybody who's actually out there like causing violence against it is probably paid to do so. You know what I mean? Like, and
agreed.
We saw it a couple weeks ago. What library was it? Was it Columbia where they like took over the library?
Yes.
And they were like holding people hostage, and then like the cops came in and just started running house on them and like smashing them and arresting them. And they're like, "Wait, what do you mean we're not getting let go?" And they're like, "Yeah, nah, new sheriff in town, homie. Like, you're going to jail." And they're like, "Wait, what? No, like, we're supposed to be gone. Like, you're supposed to let us go. This is our right." And they're like, "Nah, chief.
Yeah,
that ain't it no more."
Exactly. So I think since I know you got a race to do shortly.
I do. I got about 6 minutes.
Yeah, if we want to run down some bullet points of Trump winning last week,
yes,
we can do that. So, I mean, first and foremost, if you want to look up some stuff too, that's fine. I have this brought up right here. His prescription drug pricing. On the 12th, he issued an executive order aimed at lowering prescription drug prices by ensuring the U.S. receives the, quote, most favored nation price, effectively ending what he calls global freeloading. This order also instructs the FDA to permit drug importation and directs other agencies to take actions to address this issue. What's bad about that?
Nothing that I can tell. Now, there might be some unintended or unforeseen, consequences to doing something like that. You know what I mean? When I believe supply and demand and free markets and all that kind of shit.
Yes.
But also, I think, again, I know how the medical industry works. And the reason why drugs are expensive is because it takes a long time to develop and research these drugs to make sure that they're safe and effective. And I don't necessarily like taking money away from these companies, because then I feel like they're going to look for the cheaper way to do things, because ultimately people are going to be greedy.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if it's the medicines that we have and they're developed and they're done, and now you're just cashing in profits over profits on them. Yeah, I think I think it's probably high time that we put a cap on that shit and be like, listen, like, you guys made your dough, but like this is life and death here. This isn't this isn't like a luxury automobile that we could live with or without. Like, some people actually need this to survive. So in that sense, I think government intervention, like, I feel like that is the purpose of the government, is to intervene when life and death is on the table.
Yeah, in my point of asking, like, what is wrong with that, I only said that because people on the left are either completely ignoring this or saying, oh, somehow this is going to be bad. I just don't know why, but it's just because he's the one that...
Right. If it was Biden that had done it,
they'd be sucking him off right now, left and right.
It'd be the greatest thing ever. Like,
gargling his balls.
Finally, a president who cares.
They'd be gargling his balls. They'd be massaging his now infected prostate.
Yep.
It's... I felt a tickle on the tumor.
Take a shower with my daughter.
So there's that. There was the deal with China. Effectively telling them to... I lost you there. Yeah, so the deal with China, effectively telling them to fuck off with your fentanyl, and...
Yep.
Here's how we're going to play ball now, in terms of these other policies and the tariffs specifically. Like, the people that complain about tariffs don't know the first thing about how they work and how we've been getting fucked with them for decades.
Correct.
via these other countries. He wants to just level the playing field for once. He's not in the pocket of them like previous administrations. He
Right.
truly wants to bring work back, industry back to America.
Make Detroit great again.
Yeah, dude, Detroit could, if everything goes well regarding all this stuff, they could be thriving again within the next 5 to 10 years. They could be the automotive. Capital
Cleveland
America
and Detroit could be on the come up.
Yeah, what's wrong with bringing jobs back to America? Like just because you want a cheaper Ford, that will fall apart. I mean, it's a Ford anyways, but
I mean, yeah.
Let's be real. Unless you're going on a real high end one, but
even then, I always say about Fords and what I hate about it, because like I really like the new Mustangs and all that. Like the lines on them are really nice and they look really cool.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I hate most about Fords is as soon as you get in it, you're like, oh, it's a Ford.
It's a Ford.
There's no mistaking it.
Why didn't I get the Challenger? Oh yeah, they're all EV now, that's a disgrace. No, that has to be a goddamn V8 or nothing else. Don't put the word Challenger on it, you piece of shit.
It's just not happening. It's should be sacrilegious.
Yep. But. So there's that. He literally stopped a nuclear war between Pakistan and India, and somehow that is not getting any good attention, except for the fact that some general or leader in the Pakistani army went rogue and did decide to circumvent or just disobey the ceasefire. But that was an isolated incident. Nothing came of it. Both sides were like, no, that's fucked. Like, nobody cleared that. No, we're going back to the agreement. So, again, what's bad with that? He stopped he literally stopped a nuclear war. He's going to meet with Russia's leadership and Zelensky.
I think he's meeting with Putin right now, today, actually.
That's right. I know Putin wasn't going to be at the main one between all parties, but he was going to meet with Trump separately. So he's bringing that to the table. Already made the minerals deal with Zelensky in the Ukraine. Made this great deal for military and tech with Qatar. The only thing the left are focusing on is Trump got gifted a plane, but turns out that was part of the deal. Almost like a promotional thing, and it's going to go away after a little while. He's not holding on to it.
No, it's not. It goes to the Department of Defense, and then they get to once it's outfitted in the next couple of years, it'll be the new Air Force One, and then once it's done, like once he's done as the president, it'll remain Air Force One.
Yes, it wasn't a private get. Like it was almost like a peace, even though there wasn't like a peace negotiation between the two. It was just like, hey, here's a little extra thing there.
Right, and not for nothing either, but like, what would Trump have what use would Trump have for a private 747?
He already doesn't collect a salary from being president.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much people think it costs to fly a 747, but like when you're there's a reason why most private jets are small.
Yeah.
They not many people are flying around on 747s for a reason.
Certainly not, because it's not practical unless you are the leader of the free world. Or one of these like Saudi princes or something like that that have that just kind of crazy money. But no, this is a good thing as well for us. Again, they can only find some minor little thing to be mad about, and it doesn't matter. They're just dismissive of anything positive that he does. They can't acknowledge it. It's like if they do say something that he was like, oh, he did one good thing. It's like their heads would implode or something if they did. They're terrified of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, it's just, again, it's the Trump derangement syndrome on full effect. It's on full display. I mean,
yeah, and I don't know how else to describe it. But I mean, all the winning, it's just like I have this dark MAGA hat and it's great, but I just don't think it reflects how I feel truly or how big the winning is. So, my message and my ways of expressing it will be subtle, but
right.
It's just
mine, not so much.
Yeah. It doesn't. I'd say it's bizarre and baffling, but to me, nothing is bizarre and baffling when it's coming from that side of the aisle at this point. It's
honestly,
It's truly a wild and interesting time we're living in. I'm glad to be around for it because at least I can comment it live and not just like read about it, decades later and be like, "Oh man, that must have been nuts."
Yeah, right.
But it's I don't
I mean,
get it.
like,
He had the best week anybody ever had as being a president in terms of negotiations, deals actually getting made.
and all they want to talk about is a free plane. That's again not even the case.
Again, they don't pay attention to the actual details. Speaking of details, we can get into the details of the trials next time.
Yes, because I know all I know is that if Karen Reed doesn't walk in this trial, we riot.
It's certainly gonna feel like that's gonna happen. I know her very rabid and fervent followers and supporters will do that. I just don't see how it isn't going to happen because this is just a repeat of the second one. And now the prosecution is constantly stepping on their own dick. They had a guy today. He was the expert on like the black box and timeline stuff.
Who doesn't have a degree that he claims he does.
Yeah, he's been working on it for 17 years to get your bachelor's.
Since 2000.
Why are you the expert?
It's bachelor's.
Bachelor. Why are you? Yeah, bachelor's. Why are you the expert? There you.
I'll just say this real quick because I talked about this with my wife before we came up. I think either I'm overestimating the intelligence of the prosecution and they know something that we don't, and they're throwing it because they know, like, well, whatever. We couldn't pin it on her, but it's not going to get pinned on any of us, so who gives a shit? Or they're just really this dumb and this desperate, and they're throwing shit at the wall and praying it sticks.
It could be either.
To the point where they know, like, if this goes bad, like, they're next.
Well, that's what we've discussed this before. Like, we both believe she's at least there's not enough evidence to prove her guilty with beyond a reasonable doubt. But that we both want this to open up a full investigation into
who done it.
Yeah, everyone involved, which now includes, BPD, ATF, and other branches of the local government in the Boston area and state in general. So I hope that's the outcome. And yes, she gets to walk because even if she did, there isn't even enough evidence for that because ultimately his injuries do not add up to being struck by a vehicle like that at any speed. They're not consistent.
Not even
I don't think there's enough to completely convict somebody on the other side, but they're not on trial right now. This isn't about them other than disproving Karen Reed's.
We'll get to that when we do. But first priority,
clear her name.
Clear Karen Reed's name. She didn't do it. Let's move on. Let's move on to who done it.
Simply not enough evidence to say one way or another. It's going to be either another hung jury or at this point, because it's basically the prosecution repeating everything they already said and now changing shit. Like, they changed the timeline.
And they're fucking it up, too. Like, they're getting,
witnesses,
in my opinion, they're getting their asses kicked.
They are getting, verily stomped. Verily and merrily. It is.
Which, again, I don't understand how anybody on that jury is going to be able to sit there and be like, well, there's at least a little bit of a doubt that she did it. No, it's
they
not.
have
it's not
less of a case this time around.
I feel like that's it. I feel the same way. Like, I'm like, this is even worse. Like, how did you think this was going to be a good idea to retry this?
Well, because you got to know they met and they're before the retrial. Now that, all right, well, that didn't work. Clearly, hung jury. How are we gonna? What angle are we gonna take this at? What facts are we gonna bring up now? Well, let's just fucking change stuff that doesn't benefit us at all, and we'll get some witnesses that, one line in front of the grand jury, and she's going to admit it on the stand this time around. And we got this quote-unquote expert who's been working on his bachelor's for nearly 2 decades.
An absolute boob.
Yeah, a total boob. He's from, like, the South, too. He's got some, like, weird... I can't pinpoint where he's from, but he's definitely not from the Northeast.
I think he was from Alabama, right? Isn't that where he went?
I was going to say either that or Tennessee. It sounds like...
I think it was Alabama because I think the degree that he claims that he has, like, it actually doesn't... You can't get a degree in that from Alabama.
Oh, he probably was taking it from Southern New Hampshire University online. or like.
He was definitely doing something along those lines because there was a bunch of stuff that came out today. Like I said, it was like he lied about the degree. He doesn't have it. The degree that he claims he does have, you can't get from Alabama, from that school. And he's like, well, yeah, technically it would have to be a degree in this, this, and this. Like, okay, so now you're just making shit up. Like the fact that this guy has been so thoroughly discredited. Yeah, like if you're making that up, what else are you making up, bro? Like, come on, like this.
All the local news, local and national news outlets that I saw clips of him, because that just happened today, they all ripped him apart, regardless of. Whether it was a more left leaning or right leaning thing, and then I've watched the local NBC 10, their take on it, and they were just like, listen to this fucking dick. What the fuck is he even talking about? Like, oh wait, he doesn't have a degree and he's lying about this other shit too? Yeah, get him the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I think ultimately it comes down to the fact that there's just not, there's no way in hell that they can sit there with these witnesses that they've brought, the prosecution has brought, and feel good about this case, which, again, I don't know if I'm overrating or underrating their intelligence, but, like, the cynic in me is like, what are they up to? What do they know? And why are they? Because it almost feels like they're intentionally throwing it at this point. Like, they don't even care. They're like, whatever, dude. Like, it is what it is. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know. Something doesn't sit right with me about that. But we'll dive into it more more next week because
and your video froze. But yeah, I still got your audio.
Oh shit! Yeah, okay. I gotta run. I gotta reboot my computer, and I'm not gonna. I think might have to miss this race. So.
Oh shit!
Because I think my sim just crashed. So that's okay. It happens.
All right, then I don't feel bad if it wasn't my fault.
My whole computer is actually frozen now. So.
Well, somehow I can still hear you. But yes, we'll get into the Diddy shit. Obviously, there isn't a whole lot going on right now. I mean, Dawn, what's her name, testified today, and that apparently was super uncomfortable in the courtroom. But we can touch on that. More on Karen Reed. More on Trump absolutely crushing it right now. As I'm sure something else will happen this week that's worth noting next week. But yeah, we'll be back, folks.
Yes, we will.
Thanks for
watching.
Looking
forward to it, Trav.
Always, Joey. And you have a good night. Everybody else have a good night. And
I will. And happy Memorial Day, everybody.
Yes, happy Memorial Day. Don't forget why we have this this holiday, please.
Correct.
All righty.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you next week.
Yes, sir. Later, folks.
Peace.